Not the poetic kind of stink people write songs about. This was diesel, rotting fish, and the sour sweat of a city that had given up pretending it was clean. Along the cracked concrete embankment under the 9th Street Bridge, the homeless camp looked like something war photographers would turn away from. Blue tarps flapping like surrender flags, shopping carts chained together, a single charcoal grill coughing smoke into the humid Indiana night. Lifewas sat on an overturned bucket, sharpening a kitchen knife against a whetstone she'd pulled from the river years ago. The rasp of steel on stone was the only sound she trusted anymore. At 32, she looked 45 on good days, 50 on bad. Her black hair was hacked short with that same knife, her cheekbones sharp enough to cut glass, eyes the color of old nicotine. A faded tattoo of a raven climbed her left forearm, half the feathers gone from years ago when an infection ate the ink and nearly ate her too. She hadn't always lived here. Once upon a time she'd worn navy dress blues and carried an M4 in Helmand Province. Once upon a time she'd had a Bronze Star and a little brother who wrote her letters that smelled like their mother's lemon cleaner. Then came the IED, the medevac, the morphine dreams, the honorable discharge, the VA waiting lists, the pills, the eviction, the bridge. She kept sharpening. Across the camp someone's radio crackled with the weather, scattered thunderstorms moving in after midnight. Lena tasted metal on the air and knew the forecast was wrong. The storm was already here. It was just waiting for permission. At 11:47 p.m., permission arrived. The first crack of thunder was so loud it felt like the sky had split its knuckles. Then came the rain, violent, tropical, the kind that turns dirt to soup in 30 seconds. People scrambled for cover. Lena stayed on her bucket, letting the water sluice over her like penance. She'd slept through worse in the desert. That's when she heard the second sound. Not thunder. A child screaming. High, thin, terrified. Coming from the riverside of the embankment. Lena was moving before her brain caught up. She vaulted the concrete barrier, boots slipping on wet stone, knife still in her hand, because you never run toward screaming unarmed. The river had risen fast, brown water churning with branches and plastic bottles and things she didn't want to name. 20 yards downstream, clinging to a half-submerged shopping cart that had snagged on rebar, was a girl. Couldn't have been more than 10. Red hoodie, dark skin, braids plastered to her skull. One small hand gripped the cart, the other flailed for anything solid. The cart shifted with every surge of current. Lena didn't think about the knife, the storm, the fact that she couldn't swim worth a damn since the leg injury. She only thought, not tonight. Not a kid. Not on my river. She slid down the embankment, mud sucking at her boots, and hit the water. Cold punched the air from her lungs. She kicked hard, one leg still weaker than the other, pain flaring white-hot behind her eyes. 10 feet. 5. The girl saw her coming and reached out. Their fingers brushed, missed, then locked. Lena hauled the girl against her chest, turning so her own back took the current. The cart wrenched free and tumbled away like a broken toy. For a moment they were both underwater, the world nothing but roar and darkness, and the child's heartbeat hammering against her ribs. Then Lena kicked again, found footing on a submerged ledge, and dragged them both toward the bank. Hands reached down. Other camp residents, faces she knew but never trusted. They pulled the girl up first, then Lena. She came up coughing river water, blood mixing with rain where the rebar had sliced her forearm. The girl was shaking so hard her teeth clicked. Lena wrapped her own soaked jacket around the kid, without thinking. Name, she rasped. Aaliyah. You hurt. Aaliyah shook her head. Tears cut clean streaks through the mud on her face. Sirens wailed somewhere above them on the street. Someone had called 911. Lena felt the old panic rise. Cops meant questions. Questions meant records. Records meant the outstanding warrant for missing a court date 3 years ago when she was too drunk to remember. She had won. She stood. You're safe now. Go with them. She nodded toward the flashing lights descending the embankment. Aaliyah grabbed her hand. Come with me. Please. Lena almost laughed. Kid, I'm the last person you want in a hospital waiting room. But the girl wouldn't let go. And the rain kept falling. And Lena was so goddamn tired of running. So she went. The children's hospital smelled like antiseptic and chicken nuggets. Aaliyah's mother, Dr. Nadia Carter, pediatric oncologist, name embroidered on turquoise scrubs, arrived 30 minutes later, looking like she'd aged 10 years in one night. She hugged her daughter so hard Lena heard ribs creak. Then Dr. Carter turned to Lena, who was sitting on a plastic chair trying to disappear into her own skin. "You pulled her out of the river." Lena shrugged. "Wasn't gonna let the water keep her." Nadia studied her, really studied her, the way officers used to back in the Corps when they were deciding if you were broken yet. "What's your name?" "Lena." "Just Lena? That's enough." Nadia glanced at the bandage the nurse had wrapped around Lena's bleeding arm, at the prison tattoos barely hidden under river mud, at the 1,000-yard stare. Then she looked at her daughter curled asleep under a heated blanket. "I owe you everything," Nadia said quietly. "You don't owe me shit," Lena replied. "Just raise her right." She stood to leave. Nadia caught her sleeve. "Wait. Please. At least let me buy you dry clothes. Food. A place to." "I'm good." But Nadia Carter was not the kind of woman who took no for an answer when a child's life was on the line. She was, in fact, the kind of woman who could make hospital security look the other way while she marched a half-drowned veteran through the staff exit and into her SUV. Lena told herself she'd eat the burger and disappear. Instead, she woke up 12 hours later on a guest room that smelled like lavender and possibility, wearing borrowed sweats 2 sizes too small, with 20 missed calls on a phone that wasn't hers. The phone was on the nightstand with a note, "For you. Unlimited plan. N." Lena stared at it like it might explode. Downstairs, Aaliyah was making chocolate chip pancakes shaped like dinosaurs. She grinned when she saw Lena in the doorway. "Mom said you snore like a bear." "Your mom lies." "She also said you're staying for a while." Lena opened her mouth to argue. Nothing came out. So she stayed. One day became a week. A week became a month. Nadia never asked about the past directly. She asked about nightmares instead. About whether Lena had eaten. About whether the new boots fit. She left job listings on the kitchen counter, security firms looking for people with unique skill sets, veterans programs, even a posting for armed private protection. Lena ignored them all. She fixed the leaking faucet in the guest bathroom instead. Rebuilt the back deck when it started to rot. Taught Aaliyah how to throw a punch that would actually hurt someone bigger than her. Read her Harry Potter in voices that made the kid laugh until she hiccuped. Nadia watched it all with the careful eyes of a doctor who knew trauma when she saw it. One night in September, thunder rolled again. Lena woke screaming, convinced she was back in the convoy, convinced the flash outside was an RPG. She stumbled into the hallway and nearly put her fist through the drywall before small arms wrapped around her waist. Aaliyah, in dinosaur pajamas, whispering, "It's just weather, Lena. Just weather." Lena sank to the carpet, shaking so hard her teeth chattered. Aaliyah didn't let go until the storm passed. The next day, Nadia made an appointment with a therapist who specialized in veterans. She didn't ask Lena to go. She'd just left the card on the kitchen island next to fresh coffee. Lena went. Slowly, painfully, the pieces started fitting back together. Therapy. Meds that didn't turn her into a zombie. A routine that didn't involve wondering where the next meal was coming from. A kid who left drawings on her bedroom door and called her Aunt Lena like it was the most natural thing in the world. And Nadia. Nadia, who came home exhausted from 12-hour shifts saving other people's children and still found energy to argue with Lena about whether Die Hard was a Christmas movie. Nadia, who never flinched when Lena woke screaming. Nadia, who looked at her one October evening while they were carving pumpkins on the back porch and said, voice steady, "I don't want you to leave. Ever." Lena's knife slipped. Pumpkin guts splattered her boots. "You barely know me," she said. "I know you jumped into a flooded river in a thunderstorm for a child you'd never met. I know my daughter sleeps without nightmares because you're down the hall. I know I haven't felt this safe since my husband died 5 years ago." Nadia set her knife down. "I know I'm in love with you, lifewas. And I think you might love us back." Silence stretched between them, filled only by wind chimes and distant traffic. Lena looked at the messy, imperfect, impossible life that had found her under a bridge. At the woman who saw the soldier, the survivor, the hero, not the homeless vet with track marks and a rap sheet. At the little girl asleep inside, who'd started calling her Mama Lena last week without anyone prompting her. Then Lena did something she hadn't done since the desert.
She cried.
Not the silent leaking of a broken person, but ugly, full-body sobs that scared the neighborhood cats. Nadia held her through all of it, murmuring nonsense into her cropped hair until the storm, this one inside Lena, finally passed. 2 years later, the new community center on the riverfront had a dedication plaque no one expected. In honor of lifewas, who taught us that courage isn't the absence of fear, but the decision that something matters more than fear. The river runs cleaner now. So, do we. Lena stood at the back of the crowd in dress blues that actually fit, medals shining for the first time in a decade. Beside her, Aliyah, 12 going on 20, wore a purple graduation gown from the center's new youth program. Nadia, in a suit the color of storm clouds, held Lena's hand so tightly her fingers went numb. When the mayor called Lena forward to cut the ribbon, she almost bolted. Old habits. But Aliyah whispered, "You got this, Mama," and Nadia squeezed once, steady, grounding. So Lena walked to the front, took the oversized scissors, and cut the ribbon while cameras flashed and strangers applauded for a woman most of them would have crossed the street to avoid 2 years earlier. Later, when the speeches were done and the kids were running through the new playground, Nadia found her by the river wall staring at the water. "Penny for your thoughts, Sergeant." Lena smiled, the real kind that reached her eyes now. Thinking, maybe the river gave me back more than it tried to take. Nadia leaned her head on Lena's shoulder. "The river didn't save you, love. You saved